Ma'am, it is a kind of
Again, twinkling stars. I can't see anybody whom I can give opportunity to answer.
Ma'am, can I answer this question? Ma'am, can I answer this question?
Okay, Shishir Prasad Raju. Answer.
Ma'am, antidote is which gives suffering a disease or
Clear, dear. Can you please speak a little more clearly?
Ma'am, can I?
I want to know it from Shishir. I asked him to speak.
Ma'am, antidote is a thing which gives us means healing happens. Means it helps us to heal ourselves.
Help us to heal ourselves.
Ma'am, can I answer this? Ma'am, can I answer this? Antidote is a drug, ma'am. Ma'am, it will be in a snake. That is a poison.
Poison. Antidote is poison. Okay, then how is it treating? See, one of your friends treats people. How does antidote?
Can I answer, ma'am? Ma'am, can I?
Okay, Charvi Sri Nirujogi wants to answer.
Presentation.
Ma'am, to neutralize the venom of the snake. Ma'am, to neutralize the venom of the snake.
Very good answer. Almost there.
Ma'am, can I answer, ma'am? Ma'am? Good morning, sir. Good evening, sir. Good evening, sir.
Yes. Children, a humble request to all of you. Please mute your mics.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening, sir.
Namaste and a warm welcome to everybody. And most importantly, children, please.
Good evening, ma'am.
Murthy sir, am I audible?
Yes, ma'am. You're audible. We can get it started.
Okay, sir.
Good evening to everyone.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, sir. Good evening, sir.
Mute your speakers.
Good
I
evening,
heard
sir.
all your good evenings. Thank you very much. Request everyone to mute their speakers because the resonating noise, I can hear it all the time. Unless you have a question before the program, please mute your speakers, microphones.
Yes. So I think it's Mr. Murthy, we take great pleasure in welcoming you today to Sri Prakash Vidyaniketan once again, sir. Children, sir has been associated with Sri Prakash since a long time, and today being an important occasion, occasion. I'm sure all of you have been discussing point. And Murthy sir, Murthy Mahanti sir is the conservation practitioner of the Eastern Ghats Wildlife Society, and with him we have Potla Shalom. I think you should all be feeling very proud that she's again a proud Prakashite. We should be very proud of her. She's also with Sir today, and we are all going to listen to Sir. May I request Sir to please start the proceedings? Sir is going to speak to us and tell us the importance of the day, and then many more important things. Sir, may I request you to please speak, Sir?
Sure.
Thank you, sir. Welcome once again.
So, yeah, today it's a special day, as you all know. Today is World Snake Day. We celebrate this day to generate awareness about snakes, right? Because snakes are animals which are shrouded in myth, superstition, lot of false beliefs spinning around the species since generations. But to be more precise, snakes are very important in nature. They play a key role in the ecology. Our very survival may depend on snakes. You might ask how and why. Because snakes feed on destructive rodents like rats. You have no idea how fast a rat can reproduce, multiply. So no pesticide, no other predator can control rat populations as effectively as snakes, right? So I'll start off with some slides. I'll show you. We'll talk about some common snakes we have in the Eastern Ghats region. I'll just look into those slides. We have the first one. The World Snake Day. Sorry. Snake Day 2021, I think. Shalom Didi. Let's mark this. Yes. I hope everyone can see my slide. First one.
Yes, sir, it's presenting.
But the fact is that there are certain species of snakes like cobras and rat snakes which are more abundant in human dominated landscapes like the one you are seeing, the farmlands. So before we jump into more details, I would like to just shed some light on what exactly are snakes. Snakes are reptiles. They have dry scales, they are vertebrates, which means they have a backbone. Cold-blooded, which means not that their blood is cold, it's their internal temperature regulation mechanism isn't really developed like us. So they cannot regulate their internal body temperatures. And snakes also shed their skins. One might ask why, because it's a way of their growth. As snake grows, the old skin dies out, it sheds, and new skin form underneath. And snakes they belong to a group called as reptiles. Many of you must have heard what are reptiles. There are different groups of animals in reptiles. Reptile is a class, Reptilia, And under that, we have crocodiles, lizards, snakes, and then turtles and tortoises, right? 4 different groups. This is just a scientific classification of snakes, their kingdoms. Uh, and then coming to exactly what exactly we have next, how many different species of snakes we have, what are venomous snakes, what are non-venomous snakes. In India, there are over 300 different of venomous and non-venomous snakes. Venomous snakes release venom during bite. They have fangs and they have venom glands. While non-venomous snakes, they don't have any venom. They only have teeth. So even if you get bitten, it's harmless. So just to talk about some interesting species, and then most of us don't know that a majority of the snakes are non-venomous, harmless. By birth, they don't have any venom, they don't have fangs. So a vast majority, around 75% of the snakes we have, they are non-venomous, harmless. So I'm just quickly going through these interesting facts about snakes. Snakes are dumb, they don't have ears. You might say, well, how can they dance? I'll talk about it later. Their eyesight is poor, except some arboreal species which live on the trees. So they rely on their tongues. Snakes which actually sense their surroundings. So they have nostrils, they breathe through their nostrils, but they smell their surroundings through tongue. So that's the unique character in snakes. So that's the reason why you see snakes flicking out their tongue all the time. That's because they're sensing the surrounding environment. They're constantly collecting the chemical particles in the air, atmosphere, and then they transfer it to a specialized organ in the roof of the mouth. It's called Jacobson's organ. It analyzes those chemical particles and the brain interprets. Snake can actually know other snakes, food, whatever. So you might ask, how do snakes hear? They can only on, and as they also shed their skin because you can't wear your shirt when you're when constantly growing every year, right? You need a new pair of trousers. And it's same with snakes as the skin. Then yes, snakes are primitive animals. They don't take any vengeance because their brains are pretty much primitive. They're largely guided by instinct. They can think nothing beyond finding food, defending from humans, and taking shelter. And snakes don't have germs. They don't drink milk, as you must have seen in movies and documentaries. It's all scientific facts. So don't trust all that because they don't have any germs. And most snakes, as I said, they're non-venomous. Venomous snakes are there, but again, you don't really need to worry about venomous snakes. I'll tell you why. And they're useful in nature. They can destroy rodents. As I said, our very survival may depend on snakes. You keep hammering away all the snakes, the rat population will rise, new diseases will spread, and nothing can control rat populations as effectively as snakes. In fact, some normal snakes, I'm going to show you in the following slides. They are called farmers' best friend because they kill rats. They keep their farms rat-free. Right? And yeah, many species are also on the decline because of indiscriminate killings, habitat destruction, and illegal trade also happening, skin trade. And in many cultures, including Hindu culture, snakes are revered. For some reason, they are always considered as symbols of fertility and regarded as divine entities. So now look at some slides. As I said, there are less than a quarter of the snakes are venomous, but still there are 4 major venomous snake species that you really need to worry about. Most importantly, know about, because in our region of Eastern Ghats, these are the most common venomous snake species. The first one is the spectacle cobra. It has a distinct hood, a spectacle mark, as you can see. Many of you must have seen it in real life on film. It's venomous, neurotoxic venom. And then we have common crate. This is also neurotoxic venom. Characteristic feature, it has those white markings, ring-like markings all over the body, but more prominent towards the posterior side. Another photo of crate. Then we have Russell's viper. Russell's vipers are also venomous, hemotoxic venom. They have the venom acts on blood, and you can see the body has a chain-like marking all over the body, and that's a typical Russell's viper. It's another photo of Russell's viper. And there is also another species called saw-scaled viper. This is also a species of viper, but it's way smaller. The scales have keels, like rough scales. So when the snake is agitated, it forms a S-shaped posture, rubs its scales against each other. So that produces a sound, a distinct sound. So it's also called fursa, saw scales. The scales also look like that of a saw. So saw-scaled viper. Next we have, bamboo pit viper. It's common. We can find them in Visakhapatnaam city, Simachalam, Kambalakonda. These are also venomous. Mostly they stay on the trees, rarely venture on the ground. Next, sea snake. It's quite deadly too. You must have encountered them along the beach. Sometimes they get washed ashore, and they have a paddle-like tail, as you can see. That's good for swimming. So sea snakes are amazing swimmers, but they're pretty much clumsy on land. They cannot crawl. It's called hook-nosed sea snake, one of the most common species of sea snakes along the east coast of India. Deadly venomous. Sea snakes have rear fangs, the fangs which are placed towards the back, but not in the front. Usually the fangs in most snakes are out in the front, but sea snakes are rear fanged. And they're docile. The shape of the tail, as I said, it's like a paddle because it helps in swimming in the sea. They're rarely on the land, and they spend most of their life in. So common non-venomous snakes. Many of you must have seen these snakes around your premises, in your backyards, in cities as well. They are quite an abundant species. It's called rat snake. One of the longest non-venomous snakes in India, the rat snake. It's non-venomous. It looks like a cobra. A very timid, shy snake. Always tries to escape. And as I said, it's also called, as earlier I've mentioned about farmer's best friend. So here is what it is. You're looking at one of the farmer's best friend here. It's a rat snake. Harmless, feeds on around 300 to 400 rats in a year. So if you let it live, around 400 rats for you, and your farm, your house, your premises be rat free. Another picture of the Indian rat snake, non-venomous. Then it's called Indian rock python, also a dwindling species because it's also highly persecuted due to conflict with humans. It's killed. It's non-venomous. It kills its prey by constriction. And it's non-venomous. I mean, people might think that it looks like a viper. You can also get easily confused with the Russell's viper. But this one is a non-venomous snake, and this is bigger than Russell's viper, bulkier, and in Telugu, Konda Cheluva is what they call. So these are non-venomous but large snakes, Indian rock pythons, and they also voraciously feed on rodents like rats. People might think they engulf humans and big animals, but then that isn't true. They also feed on rats. But yes, a huge python may take on a small goat or a pig, but hunting down humans and swallowing them it's not true. This is one of the most abundant species around water bodies. This is called checkered keelback water snake. It is also non-venomous, but it can give you a nasty bite. It quickly bites, but totally harmless. Common vine snake, arboreal, lives on the trees, feeds on small rodents, lizards, birds. It has a unique elliptical pupil. If you look at the eyes, it has elliptical pupil which is horizontally placed, not cat-like, not horizontal, not vertical. It's horizontal. You can see that the pupils are horizontal, and it's a unique characteristic feature of the snake, and it's actually trying to deter the predators. You can see open mouth that display is called. Its saliva is mildly toxic but harmless to humans. It's non-venomous. As you can see, it just caught a frog, and this is also another species of water snake, but I think it's from the Western Ghats, Agumbe. Although we do have olive keelbacks here as well. It's another species of water snake. And then this is a green keelback, non-venomous. Many non-venomous snakes like common sand boa, as you can see, they're venomous snakes. It's called mimicry. In animal behavior, it's called mimicry. It's like, look, I'm looking like a viper, so don't come towards me. So, okay, they try to behave like venomous snakes. They try to look like venomous snakes. They mimic venomous snakes, more dangerous species. But it's completely harmless. Common sand boa is a non-venomous snake. Dog-faced water snake too, it's also non-venomous, mostly found in mangrove areas where the river meets the ocean, right? So that's called an estuarine habitat where these snakes can be seen. A king cobra conflict I'm talking about, king cobras getting killed. We also have people killing snakes unnecessarily, because these king cobras rarely bite humans, but still people kill them. And then we also have a protocol for rescue and release of snakes. You might ask, why? What do I do if I see a snake? What should I do? Like, you are giving a flamboyant presentation. Of course, we love snakes, but then if we encounter a snake, what exactly are we supposed to do? Step one, step away from the snake. Move away. Leave it alone. Give it the time and space to escape. The snake will move away. If it doesn't, seek professional help. Call snake rescuers, call the forest department or certified trained snake rescuers in your area to remove the snake. But don't try to kill. Most snakes bite in self-defense. All the snakes, in fact, any animal, any wild animal gets provoked only when its life is threatened, right? It's just like humans. When somebody tries to kill you, you try to fight back, right? You don't give up. So it's the same thing with the snake. The snake will bite only in self-defense. So stay away from the snake. Give it room and space, like time to escape. If it doesn't, then call for help. And most importantly, as I have shown you in my previous slides, learn about snakes in your surroundings. What species are there? The common venomous snakes, common non-venomous snakes. Harmless snake, you don't even have to worry. You see a small bronzeback or a vine snake in your backyard, it's out there just hunting, right? It's harmless. You have to remove the snake. And I would also like to the snake bite a little bit. India called the snake bite because around 50,000 people in India die from snake bite each year. They are crippled. They lose their limbs, they become completely crippled, immobile, and families are shattered. And most of these snake bites, you might be asking where they happen. They happen in rural areas. They happen in farming communities. When they are out there working in the field, the snake bites happen during this season, especially the rainy season, when the snakes are most active, monsoon. So it's a very, very serious man-animal conflict we have, human-snake conflict. So again, the first question, why do snakes bite people? Any snake, any wild animal only bites or attacks in self-defense. They always want to be left alone. They're not keen on chasing you or biting you. And what you have to know here is even venomous snakes, the primary purpose of having venom is not for biting, it's to immobilize the prey and then digestion. The secondary function is self-defense. So venomous snakes are a bit highly evolved snakes. They have venom to immobilize their prey. Each snake has a very different technique. Pythons use constriction. Non-venomous snakes like rat snakes, they eat live, catch, eat it. Cobras and vipers, they bite their prey, wait until the prey subsides, right? So each snake has a different technique, and venomous snakes are highly, and not for biting us, it's for immobilizing the prey and for digesting the prey, because venom is nothing but a mixture of proteins, like what you have in your stomach, gastric juices for digestion. So the morphology, you can have a look at it. You have now different internet sources that can actually guide you well with this. That's how a venomous snake, it's a viper, has fang sheet and a gland. Non-venomous snakes don't have fangs, nor venom. As I said, there are two different types of toxins, hemotoxin and neurotoxin. And primarily it's to immobilize the prey and digest it. So yeah, just look at how a non-venomous snake looks like when it opens the mouth and how a venomous snake looks like. The fangs are clearly seen. It's not actually to be taken as a thumb rule, but usually the venomous snake bite, whenever it bites, it has a mark on the body. But most importantly, the symptoms will start: pain, swelling. You'll get a throbbing pain, swelling. Toxins, they act on blood, so discoloration starts. Whereas neurotoxin, it acts on central nervous system, so you get nausea, you could become unconscious, right? So the symptoms, how it looks like, for instance, have a look at this. It's a venomous snake bite. You can see the skin getting discolored. Non-venomous, it's like a needle prick. As you can see, it's nothing. Nothing happens. It's harmless. There's no venom. Only the teeth are there. First aid, what you've got to do when you're bitten by a snake, one might ask, all right, so we are taking all the precautions. We know which snakes are there, but still in an unfortunate event, in an unlikely event, if you get bitten, what's the first aid? Before going to the first aid, I would like to stress upon the fact that this anti-snake venom, it's called polyvalent antivenin, is the only remedy for a venomous snake bite. Venomous snake bite from common cobra, common krait, Russell's viper, and saw-scaled viper. It's effective against all the species. So what you've got to do for the first aid, one might ask, it's most important to know what not to do, right? Don't panic the victim. Don't make the victim walk, run, or move, and don't tie a piece of cloth or whatever it is, because that cuts off the blood circulation and it will be worse. Medical science has always been constantly evolving, and they don't suggest tying knots or tourniquets anymore. So what to do? Just leave the victim reassurance, give him assurance all the time that nothing's going to happen, because keeping calm is most important. If the victim gets excited, the heart pumps really fast, the blood flows really fast, the pace picks up, and the venom spreads really fast. So keep cool, give assurance. The victim must not move an inch. Okay, just make the person sit or lie down and take him on a stretcher or a bicycle, whatever you get, as early as possible to a hospital. Don't do research at that point, trying to figure out which snake it is. Leave it, don't kill it, right? Or don't wait for symptoms. As you must have seen in my presentation, don't wait for any symptoms or discoloration. Just consider any snake bite or rings or anything that like a jewelry for women, especially because they are all obstructions. We need the person has to be feeling good air all the time, and they have to be free from any stress, right? So remove any kind of ornaments they might be having at that time. Um, this is in Telugu, but then yeah, you can always see that we usually work in rural areas, so nobody knows or understands English. So we use Telugu educational brochures like this, which talk about the preventive measures for snake bite. On your right side, it talks about preventive measures. Don't touch the snake. Don't try to kill it. Don't follow it. Stay away. Then when you're going into bushes, always use a stick and constantly beat on the ground, because snakes are sensitive to earthborne vibrations and they can actually detect your presence and move away. Always use a flashlight, a torch when you're going out at night. Keep your home rat free. As I said, snakes are attracted to rats. So keep your house rat free so snakes can stay at bay. And then keep your pathways clean so that you can see what exactly is there. Uh, that's also most important. Always wear footwear when you are going out working in the field, especially even at night or in the evenings. Most venomous snakes are active early in the mornings and at night, or late evenings. And if you are sleeping on the ground, use a mosquito net, because that will help you. I mean, that will protect you not only from snakes but also from mosquitoes, which are actually more dangerous. And the first aid, you can see the illustrations I've talked about. Seek help, take them to the hospital as early as possible. This is just a morphology of the snake. We use the scalation to learn about different species, to scale counts we do for species confirmation. Different snakes have different scale patterns. Dorsal side, ventral side, these are all the different species. If you become a herpetologist, these are some very familiar terms you might be knowing. And some snakes also have a heat sensitive pit, as you can see. It works like an infrared camera. The pit vipers, for example, the bamboo pit viper can see in total darkness because it uses the heat sensitive pit. And as I said, we use scale counts as well to know about the species and to confirm the species in some similar looking specimens. The ventral side also has different scales. We also have posters and educational booklets about common snakes of Eastern Ghats. What are there? And then it's supposed to be vertical. I don't know how. Anyway, so the snake rescue. How do you rescue a snake? Usually, you can see when you call for professional help, the rescuer is supposed to use a snake hook, right? A snake hook. I have no freaking idea how to do this. Sorry? Yeah, got it. It has now. Now? Okay, I lost. Okay. So that's what we use. Yeah, a pipe, and a simple PVC pipe, and a snake rescue bag, and then the snake hook, as I showed you. What we do is gently guide the snake by lifting the tail and keeping the head away using the hook, right? It's a cobra, highly venomous cobra. And then guide the snake into the bag through the pipe. The idea is the snake thinks it's some kind of an escape route, and it goes right into the bag through the pipe. It's a stress-free, simple technique to bag any kind of venomous snake. Right? So there it goes. It's going inside. And then tie a knot just like that using a bag. Then I have also placed the hook as a barrier, like you can see here. The hook, I've placed it. The snake is here, my hand is here, the hook is right in between as a barrier, so the snake cannot bite me, while I can tie a knot right here. There you go. After that, snake's in the bag. Okay. Thank you. Now we have Shalom talking about her presentation, and then we can take on any questions. Right? Thank you very much.
So how many different types of snakes are there in the world?
If you can hear me, there are around 3,500 species of snakes in the world. Around 600 of them are venomous. Rest of them are all non-venomous.
Sir, can I ask?
Yes, go ahead.
Sir, Neymar is an Indian who had stayed in a closed glass for 24 hours with 32 poisonous snakes. It's true or not?
What's that?
William Kumar, an Indian who had stayed in a closed glass room with 32 poisonous snakes.
See, it can be done. It's risky, but it can be done. It's more. See, people are crazy about what they do. Now, some want to get noticed, some want to get set a record. So he did it. It's not impossible, but it's quite risky. And I would always suggest everyone to use the word venom, because venom is like more appropriate terminology. Poison is a toxic substance that is ingested orally or through any other means, even inhalation. Whereas venom is something that is directly injected into the blood with a fang or some sting that animals use. So even spiders, scorpions have venom, snakes have venom. So you should be referring to venomous or non-venomous rather than poisonous and non-poisonous.
Yes. So,
Children,
good evening.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, ma'am. Yeah. Good evening, everyone. We had a wonderful presentation by sir. And when I was invited to speak to all of you today, the first thing that crossed my mind was that I was a student just like all of you in Sri Prakash, and I had many opportunities to interact with many eminent people and people from diverse fields, which actually helped me to think outside the box. And yeah, so I'm Shalom Teresa, and I've finished my master's in environmental sciences, and I'm the daughter of M. Sailaja, who is the in charge of primary branch in Sri Prakash. And yeah, so I would like to present something to you, all of you. Okay, entire screen or? So yeah, when I was studying in Sri Prakash, just like how you met Moti sir now and how he told you a lot of things about snakes, in this similar manner, we had a lot of experiences. And first slide. Yeah, we had a lot of experiences, and some of the experiences were that we interacted with students who came from Mercersburg Academy from USA, and they were the peers of our age, and they were students from USA, and we had interaction with them, and we came to know how like how diverse our cultures are and what kind of exposure we can have. And in a similar manner, we had an opportunity to go to different places through our national tours that were conducted every year. and I've been to two of those national tours, and it was such a delight. And yes, so yes, so this was one of my favorite things in the journey of Sri Prakash, and we yeah, can you all see the screen?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am. No, ma'am.
It's
Okay.
continuous stop.
Okay, we'll work on that. Yes, so now can you all see the screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you for the feedback. Yes, so this was me with my batchmates when we visited the Kevin Care Bird Farm in Chennai as a part of our national school trip. We were visiting Ooty, Kunur, and Chennai, and it was so fascinating to visit this Kevin Care Bird Farm. As you can see in the picture, emus are right in front of us; they're roaming in front of us, and we got an opportunity to see a lot of exotic birds, and that was the first time that I was into this. I could explore a lot of birds, and that was a really fascinating moment in the trip. And also, we visited the Madhumalai Wildlife Sanctuary. As you can see, the elephants were right behind us, and we had a safari where we could see the elephants from the windows. And then, yeah, so we also, on the way to Kanyakumari, we made a stop, and we could see the windmills that were functioning over there. And that was the first time when whatever I was studying in my books came alive. All that I was studying in terms of environmental sciences like renewable energy resources, non-renewable energy resources. That was the first time that I saw windmills and how they work and how they are benefited, how we are benefited by them. And so that was one of the moments where I saw the textbooks coming alive through the trip. And I really thank Director Sir for having such wonderful trips and giving us such exposure. Yes. And then after my schooling, I went on to pursue bachelor's in environmental management from Geetham. And while I was studying there, I started to volunteer for Eastern Ghats Wildlife Society. And Murthy sir and Nagarjuna sir guided me very well, and they taught me a lot of things like the practical knowledge regarding wildlife conservation and uh, the biodiversity of the Eastern Ghats. All of that I came to know through practical experience with via Eastern EGWS. And then, yes, here you can see uh, it's a international documentary on snakes in India, which was a collaboration between Eastern Ghats Wildlife Society and Save the Snakes. And yeah, I got an opportunity to talk about women in conservation and what is the status of snakes in the Eastern Ghats region and the conflicts and how we communicate with people. And here is a snap of the team, Save the Snakes team, that came to Sri Prakash and Kapalapara branch, and they were speaking and interacting with all of you. At that time, it was in 2019. And this snake rescue call documentary was also shown in an international convention. Yes. So along with EWS, I was involved in the rescue and release of snakes under the supervision of Murthy sir and the other volunteers. It was a very good experience. I learned a lot about as sir was teaching you all how to deal with snakes and the first aid and how you need to handle them in case you come across them. And these are some of the, yeah, you can see Muti sir helping me and telling me about the snake. He was explaining me. Yes, so I was also involved in release of olive ridley turtles, which was such a great experience. As VSPCI is doing a great job in protecting these olive ridley turtles' eggs and helping them to hatch in a safe environment and then releasing them. Yes, and then we with EGWS, I had a visit to the tortoise conservation in Srikakulam temple. Yes, and I was also involved in rescuing birds in and around Vizag. And then I visited Chilika Development Authority as a field assistant for ecotoxicology project. All of these experience kind of triggered from the travel and the exposure I got as a student. And yeah, this is me bird watching in Chilika Lake. Chilika Lake, there is a place in Chilika Lake which is known as Mangaljodi, which is known as the paradise of birds in India. And it is full of amazing migratory birds from December to January. And then this is me undergoing a training in Salimari Center for Ornithology and Natural History in Coimbatore. And also, we had an amazing opportunity to interact with Ram Whitaker, the Snake Man of India. And it is a great thing that he also interacted with all of you, as he also interacted with Sri Prakash students in the zoo in 2018 in his last visit. And as a part of my degree project, I did a project on the awareness of menstrual hygiene among the adolescents of the government school girls. And after taking the questionnaire and after doing the research, we had an awareness session as well, where we informed the girls how to have good hygiene practices, and then also participated in the first ichthyologist meet that was ever held in India. That was held by EGWS, and it was a great learning experience. And yeah, as a part of my master's, we conducted a lot of environmental awareness campaigns in Vizag. This was on World Ozone Day on September 16th in 2018. And this was me receiving a token of appreciation from Srimati Yashoda Bai, who was the curator of Vizag Zoo, for volunteering for the Wildlife Week in the zoo. And after all of this, I also went for training on GIS software at Azim Premji University, Bangalore, which is GIS is geographical information systems, which is a very important field when it comes to research. As you have seen Modi sir showing you all of the field work that goes on, and even through EGWS, I've learned a lot of field work like camera trapping, and these are what is done in the field. But what GIS does is all of these works are captured from an aerial view. We use satellite images and aerial photographs to understand the environment around us and to analyze past and future. So this I've decided to pursue GIS, and then after this, I'm right now working as a GIS engineer in a company, and in future I would be extending my studies. I'll be pursuing Masters of Geomatics in Canada most probably, and yeah. So what I would like to tell all of you is that my advice as an old student, as an alumni, would be that take a good advantage of all of these opportunities that you're getting, all of this exposure that you're getting at in the school, and make the best use of it. And that you be intentional about all of the dreams and all of the goals that you have. Children are the most creative, and all of you must be having a lot of goals. Like some of you want to be an astronaut, some of you want to be a conservationist, as you saw, and then you'll have a lot of goals. But I want you all to know and to be intentional about your goals. It's success doesn't come when you reach the goal, but when you make effort to do something towards that goal each day. And that would be my advice as an old student. And each experience that you get in this as a student is very important, and this will help you to know what are your interests and what are your passions, and this will give you the confidence to pursue what you really want after you're done with school, and you'll step into the real world with the confidence that you get here. So that would be my advice, and I have been supported by my parents through all of this a lot. And yeah, wherever we went to treks, they would always allow me to do all of this. And yeah, I really thank my parents and the school for giving me this opportunity to interact with all of you and to give you this advice. And I am sure that many of you will come back to school and would be presenting someday soon. Yeah. So I would request Murthy sir to continue. Any questions? Yeah, do you want to know more about how to pursue environmental sciences or anything that took your interest?
Ma'am,
Yeah.
ma'am, so the venom of a snake affect a non-venom snake?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, ma'am.
No, ma'am. No questions.
Any questions? I am also ready to now.
Sir, what is
Yeah.
the difference between boa constrictor and python?
Difference between
Boa constrictor and python.
boa constrictor belongs to a different class, different taxon called Boidae. The sand boas, also they are closely related. Pythons belong to another branch of animals. They are called Pythoninae. So both are constrictors. The main difference is the pattern, the body pattern. It's different in boa constrictors. Pythons have irregular brownish patches all along. They both belong to different groups of animals. They are not the same species, right? And boa constrictors are found mostly in Central South America, whereas pythons like the Burmese python, Indian rock python, these are all what you say as the old world snakes. Even in Africa, there is a rock python. So they are found here.
Sir, what will happen if a venomous snake swallows its own venom?
Usually venomous snakes are immune. I mean, it's not going to die. But again, some snakes like the king snake, it's not found in India. It's non-venomous, but it's immune to other snakes' venom because it primarily feeds on other snakes. But yeah, many snakes, like if a cobra bites a rat snake, the rat snake will eventually die. If a king cobra bites a cobra, the cobra will die because not many snakes are immune. It's still a lot of the topic is being researched, and some species are tolerant, they are immune, some are not, but mostly the venom acts on other non-venomous snakes when they are bitten by venomous snakes. So we have a video surprise right now. So this is called rat snake. We just rescued it today. Thought of just showing you before releasing it back in the wild. So this is a rat snake. In Telugu, it's called Jerrigodu Jerripotu. It's a rat snake, non-venomous, harmless. So don't freak out if it bites me, right? So no one is going to die today.
Excuse me, sir. I have a doubt, sir.
Yes, what is it?
Sir, what is difference between cobra and king cobra?
King cobras are huge. They are bigger. Their head is more narrower. Their hood is more narrower. They have stripes, yellowish, light yellowish and white stripes. While cobras, they have spectacle marks on the dorsal side of the hood. And they are way smaller. Their hood is also more elliptical, and that's the basic difference. They also belong to a different species, Nasa, and this is Ophiophagus hana. They both belong to completely different species. Now this one is one of the longest non-venomous snakes in India. As I said, it's also called as farmer's best friend because it feeds on rats. How timid it is, you just have to handle it very smoothly. We don't capture them, we don't hold their heads or use tongs unnecessarily because these are non-venomous, and all you have to do is gently pick him up and put him in his rescue bag. And usually what we do, we don't rescue these snakes. These are rat snakes, which are quite beneficial in nature because as I said, if you let it live, it can feed on 300 to 400 rats in a year. So next year by now, this snake will be bigger and 400 rats will be out of this world, right? For good. So
what happens if a venomous snake bites another snake which belongs to the same species?
As I said, usually venomous snakes are immune to their venom. But yes, in some cases, see, if a cobra bites this one, it's going to die, right? But usually, some snakes are immune. Why am I getting to hear the same question again and again? Try to explore, ask different concepts. We have so much about snakes, not venomous snakes, non-venomous snakes. What happens? That curiosity is always good. You become a healthy do some research.
Sir, do you know why mongoose hate snakes?
For example, king cobra, it bites a common cobra, it will die. It doesn't mean that common cobra is immune, right? So because it will die. King cobra's venom, king cobra can produce vast quantities of venom. So even a venomous snake or non-venomous snake, if it bites, it will die. Yeah. And again, some snakes are immune, like the king snake. As I said, it's non-venomous, but it's immune to venomous snake bites, right? So that's.
Sir, are snakes slimy in texture?
What's that?
Sir, how do snakes feel? Are they slimy?
No, they are not. They have shiny scales, which you might think that they are like frogs or fish, slimy, slippery, but not. Their scales are pretty dry, very dry. In fact, you don't believe. I mean, this snake must be shining, but it has very, very dry scales. You don't feel anything.
Sir, you said that
python and which is larger.
I don't want to stress it much. So this is a rat snake. I don't know how many of you have clearly seen this one.
Sir, I saw it in zoo.
So I have a question. Sir,
Yes.
how many snakes are there in the snake island? Brazil.
How many snakes are there?
In Snake Island in Brazil. Snake Island.
See, Brazil is the country where you have highest density of snakes. I can't say exactly how many, but it's one of the highly densely populated snake species they have. And there are also countries like Ireland and New Zealand where you don't have any snakes at all due to the extremely cold temperatures. And there are also some islands like Madagascar where there are no venomous snake species at all. All snakes on that island are like this one, harmless, non-venomous, right? One of the safest place to be around.
Sir?
Sir, reticulated python and Burmese python, which is larger?
What's that? Burmese?
Sir, python.
Which python?
Sir, reticulated and Burmese.
Reticulated pythons are the longest because although they don't have a bulky body, as bulky as Burmese, but still reticulated pythons, they are the longest non-venomous snakes in the world. Whereas the heaviest and the bulkiest are green anacondas.
Sir, how does a snake produce venom?
They have venom glands in their, in the cheek area, the temple region we say in scientific literature. They have venom glands. It's how we produce saliva, right? While eating food, the saliva is constantly produced in salivary glands. Similarly, the snakes have venom glands, and a venom duct carries the venom from the venom gland to the fang, and the fangs are like hypodermic needles, like syringes, right? Just like an injection. It's like that. So the venom is produced in a specialized venom gland.
Sir, you said that you will tell how the snakes can listen to music.
Snakes are sensitive to movement. For instance, you saw the snake. If you move in front of the snake, it gets agitated because snakes cannot readily associate static objects with danger or some kind of a threat, right? So what the snake charmer does is, while blowing the pipe, he moves like this, sways, right? So the snake also follows the movement of the pipe, but it cannot hear the music. If you ask the snake charmer to stop moving the pipe and still blow it, then you will understand that the snake cannot dance if he doesn't move the pipe. The snake is just following the movement of the pipe because snakes are deaf. They don't have external ears.
Sir, I have a doubt.
For us, not for them.
Sir, which is the most gigantic snake, sir?
Anaconda in terms of weight, because it's the bulkiest snake, the green anaconda.
Let me ask a question.
The king cobra, it can reach up to 18 feet in length.
Sir, may I ask a question?
Come on.
Sir, anacondas are believed to be the largest snakes and live in the Amazon forest. Is this true?
What did he say? Come again?
Do anacondas live in the Amazon forest?
Yes, in Central and South America.
How many anacondas are there in the whole world?
Let's go and make a count. I'll book a flight for both of us. We'll go there and do a count because there is no. The population estimation is something that the local biologists, the rangers, park rangers do, and we absolutely have no clue. There might be many. There might be diminished. It depends on the location we are preferring to.
Okay.
Sir, I have a doubt, sir.
Sir,
Yes.
do snakes sleep?
Yes, snakes do sleep, but the thing is, you don't know whether the snake is sleeping or looking at you because snakes don't have eyelids. So the snake is always looking, staring, even if it's sleeping. Poor thing, right? We close our eyes,
Sir, can
but
you-
snakes close their eyes.
Sir?
They don't have eyelids, but they do sleep. They take rest, a lot of rest.
Sir,
Excuse me, sir.
Sir, can you tell how do snakes lay their eggs?
They have an anal vent, which is a common area for both reproduction and also passing feces. So through the anal vent, the eggs are laid.
Sir, can snakes climb?
Excuse me, sir.
Can snakes
Sorry?
climb walls?
Snakes falling, what's that? There's a lot of noise.
Sir, can
Excuse me,
snakes
sir.
climb walls?
Climb rocks.
Walls, sir.
Walls, if it's a rough wall, snakes can climb. But if it's a smooth wall, they cannot, because all snakes have scales under their belly. It's called ventrals. And they need rough surface to hold on to. So if it's a rough surface, they can climb. If it's a very smooth surface, they fall off. They don't get a good grip.
Sir, can I ask?
Sir, do snakes migrate?
Well, yeah, local migration, they do have. Some snakes even hibernate, but not in the tropics. If you look at in North America, there is a species called common garter snake that's known to travel and also hibernate during winters when it gets really cold. But local migration does happen. There are snakes move about different microhabitats, but not some extraordinary migration like birds or butterflies, right? It's only local movement, and we actually don't know much about their ecology and movement patterns. So a lot of research has to be done to understand that as well.
Sir, if swallows all the snakes with their venom?
One at a
Excuse me,
time.
sir, can I ask?
Yes.
Sir, can I ask?
Sir, like spitting cobra,
One at a
can
time.
all the venomous snakes spit their venom?
No, there are some snakes called spitting cobras, which are found in Africa and parts of Southeast Asia, but not in India. We don't have any spitting cobras in India. So they can only spit venom because their fangs are designed in a way that the venom can be spit. The fangs have an opening right here. Usually the fangs have an opening somewhere over here so that the venom is injected. But for spitting cobras, the hole comes here. So the venom actually spills over when the snake tries to bite you.
Ma'am,
Okay, sir.
anaconda swallows a human. How human can be digested?
How?
Human can be digested.
Can be digested.
See, usually pythons don't take on humans because we have
Sir,
dogs.
green anaconda.
Oh, sir, anaconda.
Even anacondas, but large reticulated pythons, say 20-25 feet foot python, might be able to swallow somebody like you, a young person. So, but the cases are very rare. There are reports from Southeast Asia. People are very short in Southeast Asia, 4.5 foot. So a huge reticulated python might be able to swallow, but the chances are very rare. And the incidents also, we don't usually hear about snakes on humans.
So are all snakes carnivores? Is there any snakes
Yes.
that are herbivores?
No, I wish there were, right? But unfortunately, all snakes are carnivores.
Two parts. Sir, what is the size of a snake egg, sir?
Snake?
Eggs.
Depends on the species. Pythons have very big heads. The rat snake, something you saw, it's pretty small. There's also a snake called worm snake, looks just like earthworm. So depending on the size, species, the size greatly varies. All right. So.
Sir, do snakes get COVID?
Wow, it's a great question, actually.
So can we make medicines from all snakes which spit out venom?
What is that?
Can we make medicines with the venom which all
See, a
snakes?
lot of groundbreaking research is going on snake venom. It doesn't really matter if it comes out of a spitting cobra or a normal cobra. The venom is the same cocktail of protein, but the potency, the composition is very different from different species. So that's what researchers have been trying to figure out, how best to use venom for medical purposes. All right, so I think we should wind up. I will be available for any questions. Probably you can shoot them through other chat or any other platform we have. I'll always
Okay, sir.
be
Thank
able
you.
to get reply.
Thank you, sir.
Sir, how many minutes can an
Thank
anaconda
you.
hold its breath underwater?
Sorry?
Sir, how many minutes can an anaconda hold its
Anaconda,
breath?
anaconda pythons can stay for hours underwater. They can hold their breath. Hold their breath.
Is it true, sir, that snakes smell with their tongue?
They did. I think I already told. So maybe probably you can.
Sir, how many snakes can be underwater? Are there many or
Almost all snakes can swim, but large snakes like anacondas, water-loving snakes, there are different species. So water-loving snakes can stay for a long time, whereas king cobras, they can just swim, but they don't stay in water for a long time. All right. Okay. Thank you very much.
Just a minute.
Okay, sir. Thank you,
Children,
sir.
I think we should. We've had. I think what information can you get better than this on such an occasion? I think it was wonderful, sir. What an information! There were different kinds of snakes. Their their zoological or technical names. How to handle when somebody is bitten, and how to, capture a snake without harming it. And actually, I'm sure you all saw how Sir and Shalom were handling the snake very, very, very effortlessly, I would say. And yes, sir, it was really very informative to know all these facts about snakes. I think children should start taking the fact forward that snakes should be taken care of. They're nothing to be afraid of. We should never be afraid of them. And thank you so much, sir, for giving them such an information on this occasion. And Shalom, wonderful. It was really wonderful seeing you inspiring all the other Prakashites, how they can be like you, how they can take you as an inspiration. Murthy, sir, thank you very much on the occasion.
Thank you, ma'am. It's been a pleasure. Thank you very much for the honor and the opportunity. I really enjoyed interacting. Amazing kids, excellent questions. Thank you. Thank you very much. Yes.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir and ma'am.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.